Africa in Business on Channel Africa. Weekdays from 1 to 2 p.m. Central African Time.
It is exactly 13 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. We take you to Zambia now, where President Hakainde Hichilema has declared the drought crisis in the southern African country a national disaster and emergency. This after assessing the impact that El Nino is having, which has put the country's food security in an uncertain situation. Arthur Davis Sikopo from Lusaka reports.
With the political rivalry in the country taking interesting twist daily, for Opposition Patriotic Front Secretary General Rafaona Kachinda and many others, this is not time for politicking, as they call on Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema to declare the hunger crisis in the country a national disaster.
Is that as we address the nation this afternoon, we would want to urge you to summon courage and declare hunger in Zambia a national disaster.
And Hakainde Hichilema addresses the nation Thursday afternoon and makes this declaration.
And in accordance with the Disaster Management Act number 13 of 2010 and other relevant legislation, I hereby declare the prolonged drought spell as a national disaster and emergency.
Over 1 million farming households have been affected as their farming fields have completely dried up and destroyed due to the lack of rains in the last months. Hichilema says 84 of 116 districts in 7 provinces of Lusaka, Central, Copperbelt, Eastern, Northwestern, Western and Southern have been adversely affected by the dry spell.
At a national level, the estimated planted area of 2.2 million hectares. Of this total, approximately 1 million hectares has been destroyed.
With that status quo, the country's 20 million people are likely to face starvation, reduced hours of access to electricity or load shedding, poor agricultural activities and harvest, and water availability challenges, risking the entire food security and economic development.
Therefore, the incidence of human-animal conflicts will increase, including the disease burden.
Dean of Medicine at Texila American University, Dr. Amit Singh, knows the impact of drought on the health system and the increase in disease burden in a country.
Agricultural shortage of drought leads to reduced food supply, which can further lead to malnutrition and vitamin A deficiency. The respiratory effects are also there because there is dry air, which leads to respiratory problems, and vector-borne diseases are very common also in drought, like malaria. Definitely, this all will impact the mental health also and mental health impact.
Hichilema is not just lamenting about the crisis at hand, but proposes some short and long-term measures that includes channeling of resources towards humanitarian food relief, importing from other countries food and electricity, as he also commands the Zambia Defense Forces to contribute to food production through farming and monitoring of illegal exports of food. On a long-term basis, the Zambian leader is looking at setting up water harvesting facilities, increasing agriculture loans, and accelerate the development of alternative energy sources like wind and solar.
And together, we shall overcome.
And what do stakeholders have to say about this? Akufuna Muyunda of the Young Volunteers for the Environment has been one of the key stakeholders that are on record calling for a climate national disaster to be declared.
The global climate crisis is very serious, and Africa is significantly impacted and will continue to be impacted even more because the levels of commitments witnessed even from the COP are not very inspiring. But it's good to see for Zambia that our president, who has demonstrated a significant responsibility in terms of climate leadership, has heard our cause.
Paul Chisunka is country director of a non-profit organization, African Education Program.
We commend the government's swift response and efforts to implement short-term measures.
According to the law, this declaration of a national disaster and emergency will last for 3 months and extended for a like period should need call. Arthur Davis Sikopo reporting for Channel Africa in Lusaka, Zambia.
Africa in Business on Channel Africa. Weekdays from 1 to 2 p.m. Central African Time.
It's gone exactly 18 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. The stage is set for the Africa Energy Indaba 2024, which begins on Tuesday next week. The event brings together policymakers, thought leaders and stakeholders from across the globe. To discuss the Indaba, we're now joined on the line by Managing Director at Africa Energy Indaba, Liz Hart. A very good afternoon to you, Liz. I must tell you that we've been building up to the Africa Energy Indaba, which kicks off next week. How are the excitement levels? How are the preparation levels?
We are super excited, thanks, Tommy. The event is looking amazing. We've got a lot of